So it's a pretty nice day. At least the sun's out and it's not raining. Of course, it's going to rain tonight and tomorrow, I think. Temperature's going to drop again. We just get rid of this north wind. Whoa! So I'd take off my coat if it wasn't that north wind. So I'm going to try to fill the tank before it rains, assuming that the well is still clean. I got it cleaned yesterday. I've told you about that. I'm not going to address it again. You know that I got to flush it out. So I got it cleaned yesterday, but it may have gotten dirty again because the ground's just so saturated. So I'll test it, and if the water's clean, I'll fill the tank. Otherwise, I might have to flush it out again. I want to get it filled up before it rains again, because it'll take 2 or 3 days before I can get it to flush out again. There's just a lot to be proud of with this lifestyle. I've said it so many times, I think people probably get tired of it. But I was on the phone with Dad today, and I was walking by the wood pile. Man, that's a nice retirement plan. He said, yes, it is. And it really is. It's not so much how much money I could get out of the wood itself if I sold it. I could probably get $75 to $100 per load of firewood. But it's the amount that I'm saving by not having to use propane or gas heat or electric heat. So I'm gonna get this generator started. Boy, it's still soupy down here. Wow. Thing is running so much better since I put the seafoam in it. I bet I gave it another 10 years lifespan. But I do feel better. I wouldn't have used the seafoam on it if I hadn't had that new generator. I'd be too worried that I'd tear it up. But since I had a new generator, it really didn't matter if I tore it up too much. I could put the new generator in its place until I got the old one fixed. So just gonna run the water into the bucket, make sure it's clean before I actually fill the tank. You don't want to put all that dirty water in the tank. Now, the one thing I do want to state is sometimes the pump, I have a pretty cheap pump. I bought a well pump, $150, but it's 110 AC instead of 220, so I can run it off my generator. But they rust for some reason. It was one of the complaints that they had in the Amazon webpage, was the amount of rust that came off of it. And when I pulled this first one out, I pulled one out already because it was too big when I put in all the pipes. I guess I had a 4-inch pump and I needed a 2-inch pump, so I got a smaller one. When I pulled it out, it was very rusty, just like they said. But yeah, it's clean. I can tell it's clean. You know, people keep talking about prepping lifestyle. Oh, I'm a prepper. You need to store water. And I see a lot of YouTubers talking about prepping, storing food, storing water. I want to make sure that I have the ability to obtain water, not store it. I live in a tiny house. There's just not room to store. And so I get commenters all the time telling me that I'm wrong, that I'm teaching things wrong, because if you're going to prep, you got to be able to store. Well, first, I'm not a prepper. I live off grid. My channel specifically says it. Little house off grid. A little house means you can't store off grid. So I just find it kind of funny. Yeah, I think that's pretty clean. Fantastic. So I'll get the lid open on the tank. I should have done that while I was sitting here talking. So there's just no place to store things. Well, you need to build something to store. But I'm trying to teach a whole different perspective than what preppers are teaching. I think mine is more sustainable long term because I'm already living it. I don't rely on people or things. I don't rely on the electric company, don't rely on the water company. Rarely do we have to go to the store. They're saying that you got to go buy. Well, right now there's a food shortage and it's getting worse every day. Not really going to buy anything if there's nothing to buy. So I've been trying to advocate, make your own food. Now, one of the things preppers always talk about is carbohydrate items. They talk about noodles and rice because they're easy to store. Of course, I get commenters come over and tell me that's what I need to be showing you because I've been eating a carnivorous diet, and they're saying, well, you're not going to be able to store that much meat. It's not that obtainable. The problem is when and I've actually experienced this because I'm only eating a meat diet basically. About 80% of our diet is meat products, eggs and meat. Mostly we eat tomatoes outside of the meat because Carolyn makes tomato sauce is what we're eating. Tomato paste, whatever it is. But the thing is, and this is what I can't seem to get people to understand, is you're eating less food. People say that you gotta have carbohydrates because you need the sugars and the energy. But when you're eating straight protein, you don't need the sugars and energy because protein gives you everything you need. Okay, so I'm going to purify the water because we don't use murky water for everything that we consume. So I put this in here for a couple reasons. One, just in case there's any bacteria in here that we don't murky out. Coffee water, we don't use murky water for coffee, so I use this. The other thing is it keeps the algae out of here. You can look this up on the FDA's webpage, how much chlorine bleach, and you want to use non-scented bleach. And I always buy Clorox. It's a name brand, it's trusted. That way I'm not risking any chemicals that I'm not aware of. It'll tell you on the FDA's webpage how much to use to purify water. So, I mean, you could literally go out in a creek, get dirty water out of the creek, put some bleach in it, and if you don't want the bleach taste in it, then all you got to do is let it sit on the counter for about an hour, maybe two, and the bleach will evaporate. So now you purified the water and there's no bleach taste in it. But getting back to the diet, I witnessed this. Carolyn made potato soup the other day, put chicken in it. And I've said this before, and people still argued with me that I needed to do this or we needed to do that. No, what I needed to do was eat meat. She made potato soup. It was supposed to make 4 helpings. 2 for me on one day, 2 for her, 2 bowls. And then the next day it was supposed to be 2 bowls for me, 2 bowls for her. Well, by the time 5 o'clock rolled around, we were getting ready to watch TV on Netflix, I was hungry again. All those potatoes just turned right into sugar. It also produces a lot of acid because your body's got to digest that. So now you get acid indigestion. So now I need baking soda to get rid of the indigestion. And I needed more potatoes if I was going to stay satisfied. It would have been better just to take the chicken and eat the chicken, because 1 pint of chicken makes a meal for Carolyn and I. That's all we need for a meal. So we eat the eggs from the chickens for lunch and some meat product at night. About a pound of meat is what it is. Well, if you had a pound of rice, you would still need another pound of rice later. So by volume, or by weight, I guess, you need less meat to be healthier, in my opinion. I think you're healthier on a meat diet versus a sugar diet, carbohydrate diet, which turns into sugar. And all your pains go away, aches and pains go away. I just think it's a better idea. Now, the problem is people say, well, you can't store meat. If you can the meat, like I've been showing you, just the other day I was telling you about botulism and how to can the meat. If you can it, you can store it for almost indefinitely. Now, the FDA says it's a year, but a lot of people store it a lot longer. But they also tell you, these preppers will tell you to buy Spam and store it. Well, if you're storing Spam, you can store the chicken just as well that you can't. So it's no different. Now, one of the things that I've been trying to advocate is everybody get chickens. Now, I have said you can get ducks. In places you can't get a chicken, you can get a duck. The problem with ducks is they have an enormous amount of B12, which B12 isn't bad for you, but women who have been pregnant, some women I should say, not all, some women who have been pregnant can't absorb a lot of B12. They need it, just not a lot of it. So duck eggs make a lot of women not feel good after they eat them. So how do we get back to chicken eggs? Everybody likes chicken eggs. Everybody knows what a chicken egg is. We just got 2 new chickens from our hen. She was broody. She laid 2 eggs, or we put 10 eggs underneath her, and she was able to hatch 2 of them. So we got 2 new ones, and we're getting a new incubator, I think Monday. This is Saturday, and so we're going to start incubating some eggs, and then we'll butcher those chickens. I've been trying to advocate that you can live on eggs alone. If you get enough eggs, I eat 4 eggs a day, Carolyn eats 3 eggs a day, and that's at lunchtime. So if we could do that twice a day, we'd be fine. And there's all the vitamins and minerals and everything you need in it. Vitamin C is the only thing that's not in it, and that's because you cook it. If you didn't cook your eggs, of course you got to cook your eggs, there would be vitamin C in eggs. So you got to take a supplement with vitamin C. Well, of course, we don't have enough chickens to supply us with that many eggs. I mean, we're close. We need about 14 eggs a day is what we need, and right now we're getting about 8. So we're trying to fill the gap with these 2 new chickens. That would give us probably 10 a day. So we're getting close, and we're just going to kind of filter them in a little bit at a time, see how all the chickens adjust. We're in no hurry. And we got plenty of meat products while we're experimenting. If you did live in the city and you do have a garage, Carolyn and I were looking on one of these off-grid pages or something, chicken pages, I don't remember what it was, on Facebook. And they were talking about people who raise their chickens in a garage. And I was thinking, you know, that's not a bad idea. If you lived in a city area that doesn't allow chickens, you could put chickens in a garage. And if it was insulated, you could probably even put a rooster in there and nobody would hear it if you're not too close to your neighbors. But I don't know if you'd want to risk that or not, but you get the point. And if you want your chickens to go broody, because they need a brood box to lay their eggs, you just get some egg crates. And you can buy egg crates at Walmart. I bought them a long time ago for my freezer, so I could separate all my freezer items. We could just lift out the egg crate. We could get the hamburger out of one egg crate and send another one down. So I know you can buy them at Walmart. I mean, they don't actually have the egg. I keep saying egg crate. I mean milk crates. You can buy milk crates. You can put a little straw in it, and you sweep out your garage every day. But remember, if we're surviving, trying to survive, this is the way to go that you can reproduce your eggs. So if you can click this up next box, I'd really appreciate it. That'd take you over to my other channel. So I hope I can inspire you to stop prepping and live sustainably. Thanks for watching.